Hey, look at that. We are finally at the end of chapter 2. We are moving right along. We're going to talk about percent change and see what's going on. You do this all the time. You just don't really know that you're doing some algebra. What we're going to do is try and look if the percent is an increase or decrease, and then we're going to find that percent change. And here's how it works is if originally you wanted to buy something like down here, we'll talk about a sweater, right? So I might say that just because it's on my mind. So you're going to buy the sweater. Originally, it was $25. Now it's actually $28. Probably should have bought it then, right? So first thing we do is we say that is an increased price. So I'm trying to find out an increase of how much. That way I don't have to worry about signs or anything else with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the difference. Okay, so I need 28 minus 25, and I'm going to put it over the original. So that's 25. So it's 3 over 25. All right, now if you grab your calculator, you're going to find out that that's 0.12. And if we move it two places, we're talking about 12%. So by not buying it when we first saw it, the price actually jumped 12%. $3 doesn't seem like 12%, but it's all based on the original price and what's going on. Okay, so to recap here, remember this is our difference, and it's over the original price. All right, so we'll try it again here in B. Get my blue pen. All right, so the original price was $30 and now it's 12. So first thing is I know it's a decrease and then of how much. So I want to fill in that blank. So again, I want to find the difference. So 30 minus 12, and I'm going to put it over the original, which was 30. All right, so we'll find that number is 18 over 30, and we'll reduce it or use our calculator. We find out it's 0.6, right, because it's 6/10, which becomes 60%. So it was a decrease of 60% on that price. Okay, so pretty good sale, at least in my opinion. This is a lovely sweater. You get two options here, right? It says it's a men's sweater, but whatever. Whoever wants to wear it. My wife wears my stuff all the time, just around the house. So don't tell her I said that. Okay, so you got a couple options. This sweater is $35, right? Minus the $5 because you have a coupon, so $30. Easy peasy calculation. Doesn't even need covered in this situation. Or you have 15% off. Okay, so here's what normally happens. I get kids that do this, they do times 0.15, and they find out that number, and then to do 35 minus that number. All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to speed up your entire process, right? I want you to think about it this way. If you lose 15% off of a test or a quiz or whatever it is, right? Thinking school, right? Because we're dealing with school. If you lost 15%, what did you get? All right, my hope in that pause is you're saying, well, 100 minus 15 is 85. So here's what I want you to do. When we're talking about these, I want you to do that one simple calculation. So I don't have to do the second step. We want to cut that out. So if I can do this, 100 minus 15 is 85. That means I get 85%. So 85% of 35 is now $29.75. All right, now if you're buying one sweater, you're like, it's just a quarter. But let's say you actually own the store and you're going to buy 500 of these. So 500 quarters. Now it starts to add up. Okay. Or if you just pay all the bills, you realize, you know what? I want to save a quarter when I can save a quarter. You know what I mean? All right. So big thing here is 15% off. I'd like us to take in our brains and just flip that around. Okay. We're going to keep 85%. No double calculations. One in our head and then one on the paper. All right. So we're going to deal with that just a little bit as we work through some of these. So my goal here is to get everything to be a single calculation, not double calculations for you. So we're going to go to a concert back when we could have concerts, right? It was $45. So we're definitely going to pay $45. If the sales tax is 6.25%, what's the total price of the ticket? So first thing is I need this guy here as a decimal, right? 6.25% is going to turn back into two places, 0.0625. So yeah, I could multiply 45 by 0.0625 and then add that on, but I don't want to do that. I have to pay the 45, right? So we all agree multiplying 1 times 45 will give me 45, but you also want plus 0.0625. Now that looks a little bit ridiculous, right? So let's put it all together so you can do this in your calculator super duper easy, because 1 plus 0.0625 is just that, 1.0625. So if I can put those together, so our increases, our sales taxes, these are going to be a little bit easier because you just put a 1 in front of it, right? All right, so how much is the ticket actually? It's $47.81. Okay, so make sure you know how to get that on your calculator dealing with those decimals that we have going on there. All right, so that was sales tax, right? That was something we add on. Discount, here we go. So this is kind of that backwards one. Sweaters on sale for 35% off, not 15, 35% off. Now you don't want this, right? 35% off means I got a lot of stuff wrong on a test or a quiz. Okay, so I get $38 for the sweater, 35% off. So what am I doing? In my head, I'm doing 100 minus 35. Well, that's 65. So it's a 65% as a decimal. So here we go. So that means that $38 sweater is now $24.70. Nice little discount. All right, so again, this part off to the side, all right, I'll make that kind of wiggly because that should be in your brain. You can do that. I know you can. All right, so again, that was discount. Now I'm going to bounce back and forth here. So I want you to pay attention to what the problem is. Sales tax. Sales tax. Okay, that's something you add on, right? So I know I'm going to pay for meal for two, $32.75. So I know I'm going to pay for that. So I need $32.75. It's 1 plus 5% sales tax. Well, remember 5% is going to turn back into two places, 0.05, so 0.05. And what we'd like to get to is where we start dropping this 1 plus. I'm doing it now just to emphasize what's happening and why it's 1.05 that we're going to multiply. So if we go out and have this nice dinner, then we're going to have to use $34.39 for a 5% sales tax. Now, we could get into all the other things about, okay, it's a sales tax, but then you have a tip and all those things. We can get into those some other time, but just trying to make the point here. All right, football. All right. The football field used by the National Football League, the NFL, what we normally see on TV here, is 120 yards because the end zones are 10 apiece. All right, the length of the field used by the Canadian Football League, lots of action. Okay, it's 25% longer than the 120 yards. Okay, so that means it is the 120 plus 25%. Okay, just trying to get that idea down. Okay, so 120, so it's 1 point, this would be 25. So how long is the Canadian football field? It's 150 yards. And that's why it's so exciting, right? So if you don't want to watch the NFL, you just want to try something different, go ahead, flip around the channels until you find a Canadian Football League. I don't know. The rules are a little different. It's fun. All right, just check it out if you have any interest. If you don't, okay. We knew that it was more, 25% longer, so we made sure we put a 1 out in front of there. All right. So we're going to keep dealing with some of these. I have no idea what that thing is. It looks like a Wii remote right there, so I'm guessing this is pretty old by now. All right, so I'm going to buy a TV in a sale which reduced the price by 25%, and I paid $390 for the TV. What was the pre-sale price? Right? All right, so what we're doing is we're looking for the entire price. So what did I pay? So if it was 25% off, I paid 75% out of the total. Okay, so this is the percentage out of total that I actually paid. Now I'm looking for the total price. Right? So this is part versus the total. The part that I paid was $390. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply. Right, we get 75x, 390. We get 2 more zeros on there. We divide by 75. Okay, so what was the original price? Remember, the way we're looking at this is the x value needs to be more than 390, and it is. It's $520. Okay, because I get 25% off. Look at that. Look at me go. Yay, me. All right. All right, relative error. We're going to deal with this. This one looks a little bit blurry. Sorry about that. Relative error, we're going to deal with this in science class. You're going to do a lab, and it's going to be plus or minus some number, so that's known as our percent error. Okay, you might see these as we get into November here. With political, they're going to give a poll, and somebody's leading by this, but it's plus or minus so many percentage. So they're trying to estimate what's going on. So it's a lot like where we started. Notice we're going to take the difference of a measured or an estimated value versus the actual, right? So we're going to go with an estimate minus the actual, and we want to make sure it's always positive. And then we're going to divide it by the actual. That's the big thing here. Remember, above when we started, it was over the original. Here it's over the actual value. So multiple choice, but there's no choices. That's kind of strange. A decorator estimates the rectangular rug is 5 by 8. Okay, 5 by 8, and it's actually 4 by 8. What's the percent error estimate in the area? All right, so let's straighten out some of these numbers. So 5 by 8 was an estimate. That was 40, right? 5 times 8 is 40. But it's actually 32. And I want to make sure I'm dividing by that actual value, which was 32. Okay, so in this one, it was already set up that we were going to get a positive number, but the idea is it's always going to be positive. So it's 8 over 32, which is 1/4, or 0.25. So it's a 25% error, right? If we would just had stuck with the 5 by 8 rug. Okay, so maybe it doesn't seem like a big deal, but 25% error is actually pretty far off. In this case, right, we're talking about a rug. I don't know. My wife picks all those out, right? So, all right, a rug's a rug to me. So we'll get it all together. Okay. Remember, it's over the actual. That's the big thing. I'll just shut up and keep doing some math here for you. All right, this is Sarah. Right, I can tell because it says right here. So it's Sarah. She wants to buy this washing machine, which has some awesome decals all over it. My washing machine is just in the basement. I don't really care what it looks like, as long as it washes. You know what I mean? It's on sale for $20 or 20% off its original price. The original price, okay. So this time we are given the full price. Remember, it was part over the total. And we're talking about percentages, so some part is there, but the original price is $429, and we want to know what kind of sale Sarah got. Now, I don't want to know the price that she got discounted. I want to know what she paid, right? So that's 80, and it's X. Hey, you know what? Since this wasn't a part the whole, we could have done this the way we started, right? 429, 29. What would I multiply by? Is 0.8. Okay, so both of these end up doing the same thing, and both give us a result. Sarah's washing machine turned out to be $343.20, and that's why she's so happy about it. That's why she's smiling. All right, so notice we can work with these both ways, with our proportions and using our decimals for those. So television is on sale for $600, so that means it's only part of the price. So I'm going to go with 100. The sale is 20% less than the original price. So again, we're going to say that it's 80. All right. It's on sale for 600. So 600 is 80% of what number? So that's what we're kind of dealing with here. So we're going to cross multiply, and we end up with 8x equals our 600 with 2 more zeros, and divide by 8. Right? And we do expect this number to be greater, right? Because the denominator is greater than the numerator over here. So we find out that this television happens to be $750. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of money for a TV, but hey, if it makes you happy and you get to see these fireworks, we got to do it. We got to find a way. You got to pick up an extra job or some more chores around the house, whatever it is. All right, speaking of chores around the house, oh my goodness, you got the answer right here. All right, so let's figure out how to get it. Graphing calculator, just like you might acquire for this class. It's on sale. Okay, so remember we're talking about percentages. So my sale price is $101.99. I'm trying to figure out what the full price is. And again, the sale price is 15% less. So we're thinking, what's 15% less here? That's 85. Okay, so we can work backwards here. So the only time we really have to use our proportions and our fractions is if we're given the sale price. Now, can we use it all the time? Sure. Might I ask you for the equation to go with it? Yeah, I might. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply. So 85x, we got 10. We're going to move this decimal 2 places. 1099 divided by 85. Guess what it comes out to? 119.99. All right, so we're doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Now, maybe you want to own like a clothing store and get this awesome pink leather coat. Right, it's October, right? So we're trying to wear some pink and get some awareness and defeat cancer, like always. It's a terrible thing. Okay, so here's what we're going to do is a new line of leather coats is it's selling fast, right? So what do? Supply and demand. You got to mark that price up. So they're going to mark it up 18%. So I'm not going to do a whole proportion here. Somebody's going to have to pay $338.99, and they're also going to pay 18% of that. So what's the new cost of this pink leather jacket? It's $400.01. Okay, so that's our 18% markup. All right, really dated question here. All right, guys, this is a CD. Ask your parents, right? We used to listen to things on CDs. Before that, they were on records. Cool. All right, so we're gonna buy this CD. I'm just kidding. You guys know what it is. They cost almost 13 bucks now with a 10% discount, and we have PA tax. So what do we get charged here? So first thing is, you got 10% off. So it was $12.99. You're going to lose 10%. So you keep 90%. So let's find out what number that is. That turns out to be $11.69. But here's the deal. You live in Pennsylvania. Our sales tax is 6%. So now I'm going to take this number. I have to pay that. And I have to tack on 6%. So 1.06. So our final price of this $12.99 CD is $12.39. So that means that 10% off really didn't do anything, did it? Yeah. Now, it did a little bit, right? We save a little bit. Okay, so totally up to you how we deal with that. All right, so quick little recap here. We started off with some of these originals. Okay, so let's try a couple of those. And then what we're going to do is we'll move into some of these other problems. I'll let you know through Schoology or in class what we're going to do with those. But that is our percents, increase and decrease, and also percent error.